Welcome to another wild episode of Roam Overlanding. Today we say goodbye to our new friends Louis and Klara at Khwai, Magotho, and officially enter the Chobe National Park, making our way to Savuti, where we plan to explore the park's sights, all while dealing with some challenges and taking in the majestic wilderness of the area. So join us for our next amazing adventure. It's time to begin the final leg of our journey into the Chobe National Park and eventually to Kasane. Leaving Magotho is bittersweet. It's an amazing place, but the famed Savuti lies ahead, famous for its incredible animal sightings. This series of Roam Overlanding is proudly brought to you by the power of Red Dog and supported by Garmin, and in part by BushTech aluminium canopies, Easy On, Worth, and cross-country insurance consultants and compendium insurance brokers. We awoke to a really special sighting. The wild dogs we had been looking for the other day were right in front of us and visible from our camp. They had been separated and were looking for a way to get across the river to another part of their pack. These intelligent and endangered creatures are also known as the African painted dog. Good morning. We found ourselves here at Khwai Magotho camp alongside the Khwai river, and we are packing up and heading through to Savuti today. But we have had amazing sightings to wake up to. We've had some wild dog right across from our rooftop tents in the river. Beautiful sightings. Our Dutchy friends that we rescued in the previous episode, Louis and Klara, they gifted us a trap camera, which we set up in the camp last night. We saw leopard and hyena in our camp as well. But yeah, very, very exciting here at Magotho. We're going to be saying goodbye to them today. We managed to get in touch with the Toyota in Maun through satellite communication on our little Garmin inReach, and they are heading through today to come and help Louis and Klara out so that they will be back on their adventure soon. So that's awesome. I'm glad we managed to help them. It was awesome to spend a day together, have a nice bride together last night, and we can now move onwards and upwards towards Savuti. So that's us wrapping up at Magotho. Quite a special little spot, Roelfie?
It was turned out to be way more special than what I anticipated it to be, and yeah, what a place.
Absolutely. The game really did just come to us and come and see us. I mean, even those wild dogs this morning, that's a special spot, this.
Welcome to Magotho when you have an elephant in your camp. But yeah, it was really stunning. But yeah, Savuti, here we come.
Our challenge for this morning is to try and follow the Khwai River as far as we can, because we just aren't quite ready to leave it behind yet.
Good sighting morning with the wild dogs.
And we have to turn it back a little bit, it's not issue.
I don't mind. What's the bookies there? In the cloudy weather.
hasn't been driven in ages. Looks like we need a heat net here.
This really is a very unique kind of landscape to drive through, because one second you're driving through this tall grass savanna, and then all of a sudden there's this green marshy river right next to you. It's beautiful. It's a nice little juxtaposition between the dry and the green vibrance. Not many animals though, but you can see it looks like there was a herd of buffalo or something came through here. There's a lot of dung on the ground all throughout this area. We did hear from the Dutchies that they saw a big herd of buffalo the day that they drove in, so there might be a bit of correspondence between that. We are making good progress, and soon we will be making our way to the main transit road to Savuti. So our initial plan to follow the river as far as possible has ended up at a dead end. It looks like this road just continues into just mud hole after mud hole after mud hole, and we actually see on the map it actually says it's a no access road. So we're going to head back to the cut line now, but we put some pies in the oven, and it's been a beautiful drive, so definitely not regretting taking this route, but we're going to take the more traditional route into Savuti now. We have some fellow South Africans showing us a bit of a route up to the transit road. This is not on the GPS or on Tracks for Africa or anything. This is just one that they've found this route themselves as well, but it seems to be a nice, well-used road. So at least we're tracking it for, if we ever come back. I don't know why all the trees are dead like this, but if you know, let us know down in the comments, because there seem to be so many sections throughout this area where all these trees are dead. We have a sneaky suspicion it's because maybe they get too much water in the wet season and they end up drowning or something, but yeah, I don't know. Let us know. One thing we are learning about transit roads in these parts of Botswana is that they might be faster, but they are just as hard on your vehicle as the off-the-beaten-track paths. But it felt good to at least get the vehicles over 10 kilometers an hour, because we have some serious distance to cover today, and we have no guarantee of the road conditions ahead. So here we are in the Chobe National Park. We're in the Savuti section. We've just come through the Mababi Gate. And now we've got to choose, do we go the Marsh Road or the Sandridge Road? I'm feeling like we're really enjoying the sandy roads today, so maybe we'll take the sandy road. We were warned by fellow travelers that the path ahead was going to be rough on the vehicles, but we laughed it off and continued on. The first part of the Sandridge Road was absolutely fine, but all of a sudden, the last 20 kilometers to Savuti turned into a suspension test of note and basically made any filming impossible. The road out here is hectic. Really putting the suspension through its paces, that's for sure. let's check how hot they are. The shocks. Just do a little inspection on everything. Woohoo! Yeah, those shocks are freaking hot.
Hey?
Can't even hold the shock.
Drama?
It is cooking. Let's see, how's it going, Roelfie?
The suspension is working extremely hard. But
Extremely hot.
you don't understand. There is no road that I've driven in my life that works a suspension like this road. It is crazy.
It's a full extension of the suspension all the time.
The whole time.
It is bad. It is bad, and it's hot at the moment, so the ambient temperature is high. Woo! That burns, bro. Oh no, these are doing really well. We're stopping for a little bit of a lunch break, let the shocks cool down a bit, but this is very, very rough. And we were heavily loaded, so I mean, it's to be expected to be putting these guys under pressure, but that's what we're out here to do. Test it in the toughest conditions, and yeah, so far, so good. Getting closer and closer to the camp, all of a sudden, mountains and baobabs start popping out of the endless seas of grasslands and mapani. It was getting more and more dense as we slowly approached. So, looks like Roelfie's might have a puncture. Let's get out and check quick. How's it looking?
Yeah, it's flat.
Flat.
Well, almost flat, but it's definitely got a puncture.
Do you want to try and get to the camp? It's just there, or do you want to? I think we can get to level ground.
I think maybe try a pump.
Pump. Good idea. Okay. Let's see what it's doing. The puncture seems quite slow, so by inflating the tire, we can get to a more level ground just up ahead and change or plug the tire much easier. Luckily, the reception was a couple 100 meters away. That's irritating.
Yeah. But I think it's because I miss everything with the front tire.
Yeah.
And then because the back tire is flipping narrower, the back tire on the inside
Just wraps against
clips
all
it.
the stuff.
Yeah.
It's time to get to work. That means the Worth tools come out to play. By no means is an impact driver necessary doing a tire change, but it works well for us as a team because we have varying size wheel nuts across our vehicles, so with our socket set in the toolbox, we can easily do a variety of changes with just one tool. Just remember never to use an impact driver to tighten your wheel nuts. That's where a torque wrench comes in for precise torquing of your wheel nuts for each vehicle's torque settings. That is the nature of the bush out here. There's cirkelbos and roots and all sorts of things hide away in the sand, waiting for some unexpected overlander to come driving by. So that was a unfortunate little boo-boo, but we picked up the puncture. Luckily, Roelfie picked it up pretty quickly on the tire pressure monitors, so the end gauge strikes again. But yeah, disappointing to lose a brand new tire to a stick. Irritating. But on a positive note, we have arrived at Savuti. We are about to rock up into our camp and suss it out. We hear that the little shop that's got some firewood, water and cokes and stuff like that opens from 4 to 7 o'clock. And we need a bit of a resupply on some things like such. So we'll go suss out the camp, maybe put up the ground tents along, and then we'll go see what's happening at the shop. Maybe go for a sunset drive before we pull back into camp, but we'll see. We might just do a lot of game driving tomorrow. Have a big day of exploring around Savuti. Exhausted after a long hot day, we just quickly set up camp as fast as possible so we don't have to delay getting our hands on ice cold G&Ts and a good meal. And now we can finally settle in for our first night in Savuti. So we've landed ourselves at our campsite. It was super hot when we arrived, so we just needed to sweat under a tree a little bit and settle ourselves in. Luckily, there we got to the little shoppy. They had some water and some cokes and stuff. It's quite expensive, but we're in the middle of nowhere, so beggars can't be choosers. We're doing a chicken flatty. Roelf going to do his famous 30-second chicken. And we've got some boerewors and some stuff like that to do. So it should be really nice. Got a pot of veggies going, and gin and tonic is about to get going. So nice vibes here at Savuti. We're just gonna settle, have a good, nice, chilled evening, and tomorrow morning we are hitting the game drives hard. Good morning. Our second day, or shall we say our official first day in Savuti. Doesn't matter where we go, we happen to bring cloudy and windy weather with us on this trip. So luckily the wind only picked up at about 4 or 5 in the morning, but it is pretty cloudy today, so we're gonna have to do a lot of game driving to charge up our batteries and everything, but that was the plan anyway. So we packed up all the tents and everything. We're ready to go for a game drive. Let's go and see what we see. Savuti actually covers quite a large part of the Chobe National Park and is full of little places to visit and plenty of game to see. We have no idea where to begin, so we are just picking a couple of random spots and we're gonna let the adventure unfold. Getting availability at Savuti is very difficult, so for the amount of time we wanted to spend here, we actually have to book 2 different campsites. So today we're going to be moving to a different camp, RSV3, which is closer to the ablutions. Seems like it's a bit nicer and a bit more open for us, which is cool. So we'll see how that goes this afternoon. The weather isn't looking too great, and with some rain starting to fall, we set our sights for the Baobab Gallery. En route, we're hoping to see some decent animal sightings, but with weather like this, you can never be too sure what you're going to see.
Don't have the biggest horns I see, like their horns are very subdued.
Yes, their horns are quite a bit smaller than big old rumble. The lady at reception said they hadn't had any rain yet. So even though we've been having rain there in the Moremi and Khwai, they haven't had anything here at Savuti. So I mean, obviously we brought this beautiful moody weather with us, yeah? It's the Rome overlanding effect. I think we're going to see some nice thunderstorms and some, hopefully, a bit of rain. This landscape is very dry. And apparently it transforms pretty quickly once the first rains come through. So they say within a couple of days to a week, you'll see everything start going green already, which is pretty crazy. Whether we'll see that or not, I don't think so. But it would be pretty awesome if we did. So it's time to give a little bit of feedback on this tray setup. And my number one absolute favorite thing is the slide out table and drawer here. It is so good. Whenever we're stopping for lunch, it comes out. It's basically our main little spot that we're using for everything. What's brilliant with it is you don't have to pack your drawer away. You can just access inside the drawer, get your coffee, get your boiler, get all the stuff you need, and you've got your work surface to work on it right away. So it's been absolutely effortless. It's definitely been a big favorite. Obviously having the trundle drawer at the back here with all of our tools and stuff, which we have used way more than we anticipated on this trip, has been awesome. Stuff like the air compressor and that in the boxes there, also great. And now something that's very cool is that when we get to camp and we've got our, everything is loaded out, the tents and all that stuff, we've got a massive loading bay here to be able to put other things. So like now, we're on a game drive right now, so we've put clothing bags and a few little fiddly things that we didn't want to have to lug around or leave at camp. So we've got that stuff in there. So it actually gives us a nice amount of space to work with when you're at camp as well, just to put stuff. That's been my favorite thing with the tray, just having space to put stuff. Baobabs always seem to mark unique spots in Botswana. Like think of Chobe National Park with Baines Baobabs, Kukonya Island, Kubu Island, and here in Savuti as well. They have mystical cultural powers here in Botswana, and you could see why people would believe that. They are unbelievable. And right now, this is one of the first times I'm seeing baobabs outside of South Africa that are actually got a bit of green. And these ones are even flowering, which is really beautiful. I don't think you're going to see that too often. So hopefully the rain, a little bit of the rain today is going to help get these guys going even more. But let's have a little walk around and a bit of an explore.
It is said that the Bushmen believed that if you plucked the flowers from a baobab tree, that you would be torn apart by lions, because there are spirits in the flowers. Next on our list is to find the rock paintings. We heard they were a bit tricky to find, so we thought, why not give it a chance anyway? The route was taking us towards the Savuti Channel, which is responsible for filling the Savuti Marsh, which has stayed dry for the past 18 years, despite flooding further up the channel. The mysterious nature of the Savuti Channel gives the area its name, with Savuti roughly translating to mystery. It is said that tectonic plates shift, allowing the water to flow back into the marsh. But when this will happen again, nobody quite knows. It's time to send our trusty hiking master Andy to blaze the trail ahead in search for the bush painting.
So we had a nice little look at the rock paintings there, and we've head back into the riverbed now to make our way back to camp. We're going to shift our campsite now and then have probably do a bit of a lunch thing and see if we can figure out what's going on with the game drives around here. See if we can get to some nice viewing points for this afternoon, maybe even do a little bit of a 4x4 mission up the Quarry Hill. We'll see how everything goes.
We want to keep following the channel towards our camp because it feels like with the overcast weather, we might just get a better chance to see some animals around here. Our gamble is paying off, and we're sitting looking right at a young female elephant who seems to be hiding a little something behind her.
So cute, he's still learning how to use his trunk. So like I'm watching him trying to put leaves in his mouth and he just can't get it right. So he just goes and grabs the leaves from his mom's mouth.
But I think we'll back up and give them some room because they definitely seem a bit shy and look like they want to cross the channel. The elephants around here are far more skittish than I've seen in other areas, and I think that comes down to the fact that there are lions in Savuti that prey on elephants, particularly babies and even up to sub-adults, which is pretty damn crazy. The sand is starting to get thick in this section, and we've had plenty of fun for the morning. So we're going to try and get back to camp to swap campsites and get some lunch on the go. Bit of a lazy afternoon. Had a nice lunch. We just waited out the heat because it gets so hot here. So we just waited out the heat in the camp under the shaded tree. People had naps. I backed up some footage, prepared some stuff for tonight for dinner, and now we're just going to go out for a nice little sunset game drive, see what we can see before we come back and have a nice braai. I made some fresh bread for us so we can bake that tonight, and yeah, we got some lamb chops and a really nice feed up ahead. We still have pretty much no idea how the park is laid out, so this drive is just to get out and explore a little bit and see what some of the watering holes look like and hopefully get some sightings. Ooh, here we go. We haven't seen lions since Maremi, and this is our first male lion of the trip.
This is probably one of the most intense lion sightings I've seen. Just beautiful to see them, just the two of them, just like this. Whew. He's a big boy. She's also pretty big. They're in beautiful condition. His mane is majestic. It's awesome. So awesome. We're gonna see. Maybe they're gonna mate. They seem to love each other quite a bit. Looks like he's not getting lucky today. He's a bit shy. Crowd shy. Looks like the shade is better than a mate.
Literally, as we're coming around the corner, we find two lions lying in the middle of the main road back to camp. It looks like they are getting ready to put on a bit of a show for us all. Well, spoiler alert, they happen to put on a pretty lengthy show in an 8-part series dedicated to their love. But in all honesty, this is a pretty special experience to be a part of.
Was that epic?
Yeah, that was special.
That was cool.
I was that close to lions 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But that was...
I think that's the Savuti magic.
Oh yeah.
That's the Savuti magic.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we gonna have a beer?
I guess St. Louis is in order.
There's no St. Louis,
Oh no.
but there's a red one.
Red. Okay, well, whatever. Beer's beer. Oh,
Cheers.
buddy.
On a
Cheers.
great day in Africa.
Awesome.
Thanks, Savuti.
After a full day of adventure like today, there is nothing like that first sip of beer while the smoke slowly fills the camp. The tents pop up and the sun begins to set. Now, we rest and get ready to do it all again tomorrow.
And we're off to a start on another day in Savuti. Today's going to be one of those days where we're going to try and pack in as much game driving as possible. We've got pies in the oven this morning for our mid-morning snack, and Big Bertha is going to be cooking away while we are doing a bit of game viewing. So hopefully we'll find a nice little stretch point somewhere, hop out, and we can check on the little pies and see how they're doing. But otherwise, we want to get going, hit the road, and see what animals we can find. Today we're heading to the Cheetah Plains, and hopefully we see a cheetah. But whatever we see after yesterday's sightings. I'm super stoked. So at the moment it's now whatever we get, and we'll be okay with it.
Today we are heading to the Cheetah Plains and the Rhino Flay. Some very impressive names, so we had high hopes for our morning game drive. With the vast open plains seeming awfully exposed out here, it seems that the animals have retreated to the nearby tree line to escape the windy weather. I think finding a spot to have a quick breakfast with a view of the plains would allow us a chance to get out to see if these cheetah plains would live up to its name.
I think with the cloudy weather and the windy weather, the animals are steering clear of the plains today. So there's not too much activity going on.
The jet boil has actually worked really well. I thought it was going to be a bit of a gimmicky product. I've actually been pleasantly surprised how well it's been living up to its reputation since I bought mine. It's time to consult the Garmins and see just how we're going to finish our loop around the Cheetah Plains. After exploring all of the dried up waterholes in the south, we decided to make our way back towards camp. My fuel reserves were starting to run low, and my fuel budget for this morning's game drive was up. We stopped at one last watering hole, and as we were leaving, a herd of elephants came storming into the watering hole. This moment just reminded us how truly vast this place is. An elephant has to drink water every single day, so these ellies must have been pretty thirsty.
So we haven't had the best day of game driving and stuff. So we decided to have a little bit of fun and go and see what the Quarry Hill little 4x4 trail is like. So we're gonna make our way up. Roelf needs to lock his hubs on the cruiser. We're gonna see if we're gonna need low range. I'm pretty sure we will. It seems to be marked as a steep rocky climb. So it should be fun. That's a nice little climb. Got a Khwai low range and diff lock there. That is quite steep. We haven't done 4x4ing in a while. Let's see. Who's going to come up now? Let's see how that cruiser handles this. Should be a cakewalk. What about falling in the Chobe?
Ja, lekker.
Lekker. was a bit naughty.
Yeah. Cheeky little rock crawling session.
I didn't see that coming, eh? Personally, I didn't expect it to be like a proper little 4x4 trail here in the national park. I didn't expect to see that, but here we are, eh? Awesome. The viewpoint is epic.
From up here, we can really see the vastness of Savuti. Endless horizons all around. And in a couple of weeks' time, this will probably all turn green once the rain starts to fall. A sea of green with a few small rocky islands poking out. That would be something to see.
It's stunning, eh?
Oh, lovely.
This is really beautiful. But I was saying to your dad earlier, it's amazing how this barren Wapani just turns into this green apple blossoms and acacias. And they don't mix. You get the green patches and the Wapani patches.
So we're just taking a slow little drive back to camp now. Hopefully squeeze in one last little bit of game viewing and then settle in for our last evening in Savute. I think we've done a lot while we've been here, but it would definitely be nice to have more time here. There's a lot to explore, there's a lot to see, and I think you want to be here with full diesel tanks, full camping fridges, full everything. We're really on the tail end of our trip by now.
We were heading back to camp and decided to stop to see if our lion couple was still hanging around the waterhole, because we could hear them roaring all night last night. And they are still hanging out, making themselves very comfortable, even with an audience of wildebeest watching. But there is someone new on the scene today. Another male lion looking at getting in on some of the action. It looks like she isn't worth getting into a fight for today. The couple then decided to find a spot with a bit more privacy to continue their festivity.
Well, we're at the disaster pan stretch point, I don't know, maybe 250, 300 meters away from where all those lions were. And needless to say, I think the magic of Savuti kind of comes out when the sun starts to set, because are the lions not just lying next to the main road? So, and it must be a little bit of a mating season because they've been at it again today. That's an awesome goodbye for Savuti. Most excellent. Well, we're just going to stop here at the little stretch point, make a quick little drink, and we're gonna have a slow and lazy drive back to camp.
No, this is as wild as Africa gets. There's no other way to put it. If you want to see Africa, come to Botswana, come to Savuti.
We got a pleasant surprise as two black-backed jackals left their burrow not too far from our rest stop, just proving even at a rest stop, you never know what's hiding in the bushes nearby. But now, it's time to go and braai.
I'm gonna make some hummus.
Some hummus.
Yeah, some hummus at Savuti.
That sounds like you need a bit of power for that.
I do. It's time to use up that 200 amp hours of lithium a bit.
Roelf's hummus in the bush experiment was turning out really well, and we are definitely ending off our trip in Savuti with style. So we're all packed up and ready to go. We are leaving Savuti today. It's been a pretty nice day. In terms of the animal sightings and all of that stuff, you know, it was brilliant. We didn't have as much activity in the campsite as we did at Magotho in Khwai, but it was nice and peaceful, and we didn't have to be looking over our shoulders all the time. So there's definitely trades, you know, here and there for, you know, the different places. But I must say, it has been quite spectacular. The game driving is what I think makes Savuti so special. That you can head out for game drives nice and early every morning, and you know, come back late every afternoon, and you know, just really maximize your time out driving around, exploring, and doing all that stuff. It was awesome to go to Quarry Hill, go check out the baobabs, go. You know, we really tried to explore as much as we could in the time that we had here, and I think we did pretty well. And we saw enough that we know that, you know, if we ever come back here, we know exactly how we'd like to do it again. But for now, we're going to move on to our next adventure. So we're going to start making our way through to Muchenji now, and then we're going to be heading to Senyati in Kasane, and then we're going to be making our way back home to Pretoria and Johannesburg. So we've got our last little tail end of the trip to do, and I hope you will join us on that on the next episode. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Thank you so much to the awesome sponsors for making these trips happen and providing us with equipment designed to conquer the toughest overlanding conditions. And I want to let our Patreon members know how much I appreciate their continued support month after month, keeping Rome alive one video at a time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next adventure when we head to Khwai. Cheers!